Good morning, everyone. This is Cheryl, or Cee, call me Cee. And today we're coming from Unity of Ottawa and Unity of Kitchener to share our service today and the marvelous messages of Advent, the Advent of love, which is a beautiful time, the time of Advent just before Christmas. And so Cheryl Rodgers and I will be your hosts today. And we will
Cheryl and Cee.
Yeah, or C. I keep forgetting my other name.
It's okay, Cee.
A few things over the years, but that's C's good. And anyway, so following each song today, we're kind of interweaving a bit of a serenity, because the celebration of love that we're going to be sharing with you today is really a time to go inward. And so those moments of silence are very helpful. So we will give you at least 30 seconds between the song and then the next discussion point today. And that'll give you time to embrace those feelings you're going through and any awareness that's coming through. I mean, an hour would be better, but we don't have time for that. So we'll go from that situation. So anyways, let's move on to the land acknowledgement. So from where you are seated, please remember the stewards of the land where you are. And from where I am today in the Gatineau Hills of Canada, we acknowledge the Algonquin Nation on whose unceded territory we are hosting this online service. And we acknowledge them as past and present stewards of this land. And just take a moment to remember the stewards of the land where you are, and for whom we are very grateful. Thank you. So this is week 3 of Advent, and now is the time to consider love and spend some time opening to love as we approach Christmas. You could say to yourself that I receive love graciously and reflect it to the whole world. So in this 3rd week of Advent, the Advent of love, love is known by each of us in one way or another. Perhaps you've experienced the opening of love through a poem or a song or a hug, or maybe from the holding of a child or the cuddling of a puppy. And ultimately, we know that somewhere within each of us is the capacity to experience something profound and moving that we can understand is love. And in this week of Advent, we reflect on the ultimate gift of love, which is our way shower, that little baby, Jesus. And he became a profound man. And he is our true example of love. And it is him that came to each of us to teach us about loving God, loving the oneness, the infinite source, the divine mind, and then also loving ourselves and loving others. And we know that our way shower became the love. He wasn't just a typical human. He became the love. He walked in love. And that is what we call the Christ. And at the time of his birth, so many people were just starving for safety and security and love because there was so much hardship and chaos around the time of Jesus. And even now, people are seeking to fill their lives with love. It is one of those things that we are always seeming to seek. And he has, like I said, offered us a way to love ourselves and to love others. And you know, it's Unity's second principle that for me has helped me remind me that we are love. It goes, I am the expression of God, the one power through everything everywhere. And therefore I am inherently good. And through our goodness, we unveil love, because love is good. It's great. And we have the capacity to share and express this in each moment. It was one of my favorite teachers, Lester Levinson, who he's a wonderful teacher out of New York City, later into Sedona, and he taught unconditional love. And he said that this is the only way to stay healthy, to stay well. In fact, he healed his heart disease by cultivating unconditional love with everybody he had experienced life with in his past. And he did this by healing the previous wounds. And in his present life at the time, he chose to love the people he knew then. In the present, he chose to love them unconditionally. And he could fully embrace life. He did this and he began to heal his body. And he did this with gratefulness. How else can you love unconditionally except to remember to be grateful in the moment, and that will open your heart and surrender you. I know that when I'm frustrated, I have to remind myself to be grateful. So recently, for instance, I had this new little puppy who's running circles around everybody and causing little fights with her older sister. And I've had to break up quite a few of them. And lately I've been going, really? I chose this? But so then I sit down in those quiet moments with her and I see her little cuteness. She's adorable. And the way she looks around at everything, she wants to know everything, and she sniffs the air. And it reminds me that she's going, what is this? What is that? And she reminds me to ask the same questions. What is this? What is that? To be present to the moment and to feel that fresh air and to open with it and to surrender to it. And her enthusiasm has reminded me to be enthusiastic in each moment and to feel love. And now I know why she's with us, because I've needed that reminder this past year of great loss. You know, love can arise in the most unexpected ways. So I have this little story I'm going to tell you. There was a teacher, a spiritual teacher, and she was sharing the short story with a group of people. And she was talking about one of her students, a student who's always coming to speak with her and to share with the classes that she offers. He was a really special guy. And she said that each day her student would go to work and he would consistently take the time to clear the path to the work site because it would fill with branches and leaves, and sometimes stones would fall down from the hills onto the path. However, his employer, he didn't care. As long as he could get to the work site, that's all that mattered to him. As long as you're going to get there, do your day's work, I don't want you taking the time to do that. That's all he wanted. And he was becoming really irritated with this worker. So he shows up one day and he's yelling out, why do you waste your time and my money clearing this path the way you do? It's unnecessary. You can easily walk to and from the work site over the branches, over the rocks, over the leaves. He was totally annoyed. But her student, the smiling guy, said, well, I do this out of love. He knew the way of his heart and the oneness. But his employer, not impressed. That's all he could say was, there's always something going on around here, and it's bothering me. And he said this as he turned around, walked away, limping and walking with his cane. Perhaps we don't always appreciate the gifts of love that are being given to us. So we need to pay attention, because you never know when someone's trying to offer you love and you haven't been listening. Thank you.
The daily word. I answer the call to love, embracing the world. Love is both a noun and a verb. More than just a feeling, it is one of the highest intentions I can hold and one of the most sacred actions I can take. Love is the name and nature of God, the pulsation of oneness from the center of my heart to the farthest reaches of earthly existence. On this third Sunday of Advent, love is also a call to action, an invitation to perceive the world through the Christ presence and live as the love I am. I open my heart and let my love flow forth as kindness, gentleness, and compassion. I stay grounded in the presence of God through my prayers, and I radiate love through my kind words and actions. I trust my loving impulses will reach far and wide. The light and joy I send forth grow and expand to encompass all things. And from John 1, chapter 3, verses 18, little children, let us love, not in word or speech, but in truth and action.
What is love? There are many, many meanings for love, as there are many people. There are definitions for different types of love. There are different languages of love. And there is the meaning that each and every one of us gives it. Mother Teresa describes it like this: love is a fruit in season at all times and within the reach of every hand. Lenin puts it as, love is the greatest refreshment of life. Love in a general sense can be defined as an expansion of the heart toward another human being. Diving a little deeper from Charles Fillmore, the Revealing Word, love is the pure essence of being that binds together the whole human family. Of all the attributes of God, divine mind, love is the most beautiful. Metaphysically, love is the power that joins and binds in divine harmony the universe and everything in it. It is the great harmonizing principle for fundamental truth known to man. God is love. Love is God. Divine love. Divine love is impersonal. It loves for the sake of loving. It's not concerned with what or who it loves, nor with the return of love. Like the sun, its joy is in the shining forth of its nature. It is the ability to see the essence of divinity in every moment, every one, in every interaction we have, the ability to hold the intention of love in every thought we think, to feel the loving embrace of all. David Hawkins, in his book Letting Go, describes love as a way of being that is forgiving, nurturing, and supportive. He says it does not proceed from the mind rather than the heart, from the heart, which we all know, right? Love focuses on the sense of a situation. We can feel it, not the details. This description makes me think about my love for my grandchildren. When I think about them, my heart just opens. I can just feel this love in every cell of my body. And it's a love that is, you can't explain. No matter what they say or do, I will love them anyway. I remember my youngest son once quite mad with me, and he was so frustrated, and he shouted at me, he said, "I hate you." And I was able to say in a state of love and said, "That's okay. I love you anyway. No matter what, I will always love you.
Now I'd like to share with you this sweet poem. Keep love growing, cultivate with care, and a little tenderness and plenty of fresh air. Keep life simple. You reap just what you sow. So spread those seeds of love and watch them grow. Keep love growing. It isn't hard to do. Just remove those weeds of fear and watch that love shine through. Stay lighthearted. You reap just what you sow. So spread those seeds of love and watch them grow.
I now invite you to breathe in slowly and deeply. You may close your eyes or lower your gaze. Please take a few slow and deep breaths, allowing joy, love, and peace to rise on each breath. And on the exhales, letting go of your aches and pains, your hurt, and your worries. May my words become your words. As I'm surrendering more and more to the infinite love, joy, and peace of the one power, I continue to breathe slowly and deeply, opening my heart to the infinite possibilities of the oneness. I know the one power, the one present is in everything and everywhere. Therefore, I too am divine. In the spirit of today's service, I open my heart, allowing the love to pour through. As I quiet my mind, I create space for new understandings and possibilities which are presenting themselves to me in this moment. I welcome and claim my power of love, and I let divine ideas unfold in my mind, resulting in illumination of my whole being. I harmonize and unify my life from divine ideas. I open up to new balanced and healthy understandings of myself and for my personal relationship to the world around me. Having compassion for another means having a listening ear and giving a comforting word. When I am present to others, I lift them up with my support. In doing so, I remember to be careful to have compassion for myself too. There is wisdom in knowing that I cannot be all things to all people. And it is important to take time in prayer to ask, what is mine to do? What is mine to give? I am so happy and grateful for the guidance that I received in prayer silence. I live my prayer through acts of care and compassion. It is natural to be kind to myself first. I take time for spiritual self-care and prioritize good nutrition, relaxation, and exercise. Being kind to myself makes being kind to others easy and natural. I am patient and understanding, and I seek harmony and accord in my relationships. I let the small irritations go, remaining calm, pleasant, and loving. I am so happy and grateful for my power of love. Blessed with divine love, I live a life of compassion. Repeat with me. Blessed with divine love, I live a life of compassion. In all of this, I believe and trust. Amen. I invite you to add in the chat section the names of 4 situations to be held in the prayer during this service. Thank you.
Just breathe that in. What a beautiful prayer. And thank you. Leading a life of love.
Okay.
I often think to myself,
This is I'm gonna.
sorry,
Sorry,
Is
going to
this-
usurp the moment if you don't mind.
that's good.
Out of love, out of love.
Carried away.
We have so much exciting things to share today because love is a fascinating topic. And, when you look at love, you think, there's only one love, but psychology has divided love into countless categories. It's quite amazing, really. So there are different types of love, like universal love and divine love and mystical love and enchanted love and passionate love. You're going to read about all sorts of different types of love as you move ahead in the years. But you will always see in the writings, thankfully, that there's one source for all of these unique experiences and the different perspectives, but they give us a pivotal point from which we can understand ourselves better and express ourselves well, and then use this to carry out our lives. There's this book that I read many years ago, and it's called The Fourfold Way, and it's by a woman named Angelis Ariane. And she states that there are 6 types of universal love. So not only do we have universal, mystical, passionate, all that stuff, now just universal alone has 6 types of love in there. So love between mates and lovers, love between the parent and the child, love between colleagues and friends, or colleagues and then also friends, love between a teacher and a student, love between a therapist and a client, love of yourself, and love that is unconditional. And we learn along the way that it doesn't matter where we start on our spiritual path in order to find our way to this great love, the oneness, the infinite source, God. You can bring out love from wherever you are today. You just have to love. You can start with the doing of love, the actions of love. And before you know it, you will feel that love. So viewing the world as love, if you want to view the world as love, which in my experience is definitely a choice, you can make your whole life flow better. And in the book of John 17:23, we learn that in speaking to the one divine mind, Jesus said, I am in them, and you are in me. And may they experience such perfect unity that the world will know that you sent me and that you love them as much as you love me. Our way shower was a living example of love, and he indeed guides us to understand that love comes from within, from our intertwining with the one source, the one power through everything, everywhere. And I remember this amazing story that I learned about almost 25 years ago. And it is an expression of love through the action of compassion. And I don't know if you know the Buddhist theory of love, but love is the action of compassion. To emit love, you have to act in some way so the others can experience it. And you have to remember so you can experience it. So I always go back to the story to explain unfolding love, how you can unfold into love even when you feel resentment and you feel hard and you feel broken, and it's okay, you can get back that feeling of love through compassion. Giving love is actually the greatest offering, and it fills you with love. So this story is an old traditional story out of a village from the 1700s. It's a story of a woman who had a mother-in-law that she did not get along with. So this daughter-in-law was constantly telling her husband that he needed to find somewhere else for his mother to live. But he would always say, well, she won't last long, just another year, maybe less, maybe less. And you know we can't afford for her to live somewhere else. And she has nobody else. So this annoyance went on and on and on. And she kept going to her husband, and she kept feeling overwhelmed because her mother-in-law was hard. She was tough as nails. And she wasn't a happy person ever. And she wondered when this old woman was going to leave them. And it couldn't be soon enough for her. So one day she'd had it. So she ran out of the door of their little building, and she ran down the road to the nearest apothecary. If you don't know what an apothecary is, it's like going to the pharmacy today. But they had all of these different remedies, all of these different salves. And she went there in tears, and she was crying when she told the apothecary. She says, "Dear sir, I am so broken. I cannot handle one more day with that old wretch of a being. She's destroying my life. My family feels no abundance, no aliveness because of her. She's got to go. Please, I beg you, please give me something that she can take and put us all out of our misery." And the apothecary, he knew what to do. He gleaned an awareness because he knew the situation. And he was wiser than the daughter-in-law, yet understood. So he says, well, I'm going to give you this remedy, and it's going to put everyone out of their misery. So he handed her a salve, right? This is something to help, to resolve the situation. And it was in a vial of oil. And he says, massage this into her back each day for 15 minutes. Then be sure to wash your hands thoroughly, because of course you didn't want that going through you. And I promise, she will no longer be a problem for you. The daughter-in-law was in awe. She was so grateful. Oh my goodness, she could barely contain herself. She was so happy. She goes, thank you. I will do that for sure. And she paid him a healthy sum. She ran out the door and down the street quickly to begin the removal of her mother-in-law. And she was convinced that she would soon be gone. That afternoon, she told the old woman that the apothecary had given her some remedy for her aches and pains. She believed that this was going to take her out. And the old woman, she wanted her to believe that this was for her, that it would release her aches and pains. She spent 15 minutes that afternoon rubbing in the oil, and then she washed her hands quickly. Her mother-in-law fell asleep that afternoon. She actually had a little smile on her face. The next day, the mother-in-law was grumpy again. So she put the oil on her back, massaged it in for the 15 minutes. And the next day, she was grumpy again. But she was getting a little more sleep. So she had a little more time to do things without the grumpiness. The daughter-in-law was getting a little more relaxed because of that. But still, every day there was grumpiness, then sleep, and then grumpiness, then sleep. When would it end? A week later, the daughter-in-law completed another massage with the oil for 15 minutes and was actually starting to feel a little peaceful when she gave the massages. And it was then that her mother-in-law said "Thank you, my dear," and went to sleep. Now that was a change. The daughter-in-law was in shock. Like, really? She's never, ever said thank you for anything. The next day, while she was massaging in the oil, and actually smiling this time because she's giving, and in the giving of the repetition, she entered a state of flow. And her mother-in-law started telling her the story of her life. The daughter-in-law had no idea of her mother-in-law's first family and the losses she had endured. What a tragic life, she thought. No wonder she's been so mean for so many years. And the day after that, the mother-in-law thanked her. She thanked her for being the first person to ever touch her with love. Then the daughter-in-law's going, okay, now she knew who was being mean, and it was her. All this time, she'd never known anything of her mother-in-law. She'd always reacted to her grumpiness, so the walls built and she never looked in. The daughter-in-law was melting her heart. She ran down the street to the apothecary. She says, please, please help me. I can no longer use the oil that could kill my mother-in-law. Can you please tell me, what do I need to do to fix this? Is it too late? She was so desperate now. She had opened herself to love for the first time with her mother-in-law in giving their massages. And the apothecary looked at her with this big, big smile. And he said, my dear, you've already fixed everything. All is now well. All is now well. She will not die. It is you who have died to love. The daughter-in-law cried and cried. She now saw the ways of the apothecary and could be free of her fears and guilt. She was open now and ready to really love her mother-in-law. She could no longer imagine that her mother-in-law needed to be anywhere else. She had truly broken open her heart, as had her mother-in-law, and brought through the love she needed to spend her life in peace and love with the whole family. And I ask you, is there any area of your own life where you would benefit from bringing in your own salve or oil to a situation that you feel you need to learn to love again, or for the first time? It's Marianne Williamson who said, viewing life through the eyes of the world, we learn about what the world is. Viewing life through the eyes of spirit, we learn about a world that could be. It's a law of consciousness, that what we think expands. Our focus amounts to a mental endorsement of the worldview that keeps the object of our focus in place. In order to change the world, we must change the mental lens through which we view it. And I say to you, can you let that mental lens be love? Thank you. Where God's love is, there is no fear, because God's perfect love drives out fear. So what does this mean? It means that when we settle into remembering that we are one with the one power, and we can actually feel this, there is no room for fear. There is only the feeling of love. Our deepening of love is dependent on our choice to be so, to be that love. And I love this quote from the Gospels. I changed it a little to accommodate unity speak. And it goes like this. From Mark 12, Jesus, he replied, the most important commandment is this: listen to the people to the people of Israel at the time. The one our God is the one and only one. You must love it with all your heart, all your soul, all your mind, and all your strength. And when you live this, when you live in gratitude for this one power through everything, everywhere, you become love. This is indeed a profound commandment, and many blessings and love to all of you this beautiful Advent.
Mother was preparing pancakes for her sons, Kevin, who's 5, and Ryan, who's 3. The boys began to argue over who would get the first pancakes. So their mother thought, this is an opportunity for a good moral lesson. If Jesus were sitting here, he would say, "Let my brother have the first pancake. I can wait." Kevin turned to his younger brother and said, "Ryan, you be Jesus." How about you? Can you follow in the steps of the Enlightened One? Be a loving light for others. The more we give, the more we get back. And not always in the way we think. That is how we grow in absolute abundance by shining our own light and expanding our own consciousness. In our contemplation and growth this season, we are reborn anew, and we will continue to be as we move through our lives each and every day. I have to warn you though, it's not always easy. Khalil Gibran, from his book, The Prophet, speaks of love this way. When love beckons to you, follow him, though his ways are hard and steep. And when his wings enfold you, yield to him, though the sword hidden among his pinions may wound you. And when he speaks to you, believe in him, though his voice may shatter your dreams as the north wind lays waste the garden. For even as love crowns you, so shall he crucify you. Even as he is for you, for your growth, so is he for your pruning. And the poem goes on. But to me, what he's describing here is life. And that both the good and the difficult, challenging times are opportunities to grow in love. What is waiting to be born in you, using the power of love? A new path, perhaps? Healing of wounds that run deep? Courage, confidence? Maybe a new way of seeing and being in the world. Maybe a life that is less about getting and taking and more about giving. In this season of Advent, we are invited to wait open-heartedly, to honor love in the world, and to quietly attune to what is waiting and wanting to be born in each of us. May your journey to love be one of great self-understanding and deep expression of its profound abundance.
Please join us, me and Cheryl Rodgers, today in saying this together. We are abundantly blessed. Creative people are drawn to us. Divine ideas flow through us, and financial resources bless us, and we accomplish mighty works together. Coming up next week, we have the divine Reverend Barbara Schreiner-Trudell. She has been with us before, and we love her deeply. And she's going to be talking about joy, the advent of joy. And the theme is Joy, Joy, I Adore Me. That's going to be a fun one. I look forward to that. And then the Thursday after that, we're having the candlelight service. So I welcome you to keep on with us until the end of the year, and we'll have a great experience in the new year as well. So here's Ann Tedio to finish with a prayer of protection.
Here I am. So as you move into your day, may you feel inspired and uplifted to do what it is yours to do this day, guided by the living, loving energy of God within you and all around you as you shine your light into the world as an inseparable part of the world. As we come together and close this service, let us pray holding our prayer request, and join me in saying, the light of God surrounds us. I am the light. The love of God enfolds us. I am the love. The power of God protects us. I am the power. The presence of God watches over us. I am the presence. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. So we give thanks and appreciation for this time together and the reflections of our services. Big thanks to both Cheryls. We go knowing that where we go, God is and peace is. And so go in peace, go in love, and please, now we offer you 2 songs that will support you in surrendering deeper and deeper to love through the opening of your heart.
Welcome everybody to Fellowship. Unity Kitchener, Unity of Ottawa, friends. We welcome you to join us today.